we're going to go just a little bit deeper into the area calculations. Okay, so we're going to look at this particular frame, right? And if we look at this frame, we can see that this part here is the wooden area, and then this is the part where you put your picture in it, right? So the length of the outer rectangle, we have two rectangles, the really small rectangle where your picture will show, and then we have the big rectangle, which is everything, the picture and the frame, right? So they're saying to us that part there, which is the big rectangle, is 80 millimeters long, and it also has a breadth or a width of 60 millimeters, right? And then they say the distance between the small rectangle and the big rectangle is 10 millimeters. So from this corner here going to the end, that's 10 millimeters. That means anywhere, if I am here, between here and here, it's 10. Between here and here, it's 10, right? Now remember, they said this whole thing is 60. That means this one here will be 60 minus this part, minus the left and the right part. So minus this part, and then I get the 60. I get that part. Same when you come this side of the 80. This side is 10 and this side is 10. Therefore, if I'm looking for the small length here, I'll say the whole thing minus the 10 on the side and minus the 10 on the left, and then I can get my length there, right? It's not that difficult. So if we take a look at this frame over here, you will see that this particular part is the wood, and then there's the inner part there. So there's that distance there, which is 10. There's that distance there on the right, which is 10. And at the bottom, the distance is 10. And at the top, the distance is 10. And the long part is the 80 millimeters. And this part will be the 60 millimeters. See that the smaller part will be 60 centimeters. But the inner part there means that we will say 60 minus this 10 on the left, minus the 10 on the right, and then we will get 40, which means this one will be 40 centimeters. Okay, so let's do calculations and calculate the areas of this. So I'm going to show you the 3 areas that we can calculate here. If we are told to calculate the area of the whole frame, we can then say, okay, the whole frame is 80 centimeters by 60 centimeters, and we wouldn't worry about anything else. We'll just say length times breadth and get the area. Okay, so the area here, 80 millimeters. What am I saying? Centimeters. All right, so it would be area of a rectangle is equal to length times breadth. So the area is equal to the length of 80 millimeters multiplied by 60 millimeters, and we will get 80 multiplied by 60 in millimeters squared will be 4,800 millimeters squared, right? So that'll be the area of this whole entire thing, the whole thing. That's the size of it all, right? All of it. That's the size of it. Okay, so now if the question had said calculate the area of the whole rectangle, okay, the whole frame. What if the question now says calculate the area of the smaller rectangle, right? So what we would do then is we would say, we're not given the measurements there. So first we have to make sure that we deduce them, we get to the measurements. So we have the big rectangle, and then we have the small rectangle inside, right? And we know that this is 80. The bottom part is 80, and the sides, on both sides of the small rectangle, it's 10, 10, right? All of it is in millimeters. So what we're going to say is, we're going to say to find the length of the small rectangle, we're going to say 80 millimeters minus 10 millimeters from the left, minus 10 millimeters from the right, and then we're going to get 60 millimeters. So we have the length of it. And then the breadth, we're going to say, for the breadth, we're going to say That one is 60 on the side here. It is 60. So we're going to say 60 millimeters minus this 10 on the bottom and minus the 10 on the top. Then we have the 40 millimeters. So our area then will be for 60 by 40. So our area of a rectangle is equal to length times breadth. So area will be 40 millimeters multiplied by, 60 millimeters multiplied by 40 millimeters. And then we get the area of the smaller rectangle, which is 60 by 40. And we get 2,400 millimeters squared. Right. Another question then that could be asked is, what is the area of only the shaded part there, or the wooden part if you like? Now the shaded part is easy to calculate. You take the area of the whole thing, you minus the area of the small one. So we said the area of the whole thing is 4,800 Rand. So the shaded part there, the area is equal to, they take the whole thing, the area of the whole thing, which is 4,800 millimeters squared. We minus the area of the tiny little box inside, which is 2,400 millimeters squared. And then we get 2,400 millimeters squared, right? So we get the inner part of it. Lovely, ne? Let me just, I always do this, make mistakes here. 4,800 minus 2,400. Okay, it's 2,400. So we're done there. So that's how you would be doing that. Okay, lovely, right? But then, what if it's circular? Same thing. First of all, we have the diameter of the whole bigger circle. We need the diameter of the smaller circle if we're going to calculate this one. So what we do is we take the 12, the whole thing, we minus the 2 from the left and the 2 from the right, and then we get the diameter of the small circle over there, and that would be 12 minus 2, and that would be 8. So that one is 8 meters, the small one. So whenever you ask, then you can calculate. You calculate the area of the big circle, then you can calculate the area of the big circle. Area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. And then if you're asked to calculate the area of the small circle, first you have to find the diameter because you're not given. And then, of course, you need to find the radius, but then you use pi r squared again. But then if you are asked to calculate only the area of the shaded part, it means you have to calculate the area of both the circles, then minus them. Can you do it? Right, so we're calculating the area of the big circle. We're going to say area of a circle is equal to pi r squared, and then we're going to say the area there is 3,142 multiplied by the radius. Therefore we need the radius. We're going to say 12 divided by 2, and we get 6 meters. Therefore we're going to say 6 squared there, and the area there will be 113.112 meters squared. So that is the area of the big circle. Now we're going to calculate the area of the small circle by saying area of the small circle is equal to pi r squared. That means that area here is 3,142 multiplied by, let's check the radius. We said that in order to get the diameter first, we said since this whole thing is 12 and this part is 2, therefore this part is 2, then we're going to say 12 minus the 2 2's. So 12 minus 2, that will give us 8. But that is the diameter. So we're going to say 8 meters divided by 2, and then we're going to get 4 meters, and we're going to square that, right? So 4 meters. 4 squared is 16. Right, and then we're going to find the area. 16 times 3,142, and that is going to be 50,272 meters squared. Okay, so I now have the area of the big circle, I have the area of the small circle. I can find the shaded part of it. So that is just saying the shaded area is equal to, and I take the big part, 113.112 minus 50.272, and I get the area of the shaded part. Voila! Delicious.